three friends set out for a fun weekend in the snowy mountains. But one wrong decision turns their laughter into screams. Trapped high above the ground on a frozen chairlift, with no one coming to save them, the cold grows deadlier by the minute. Below, hungry wolves wait, and every second becomes a fight for survival. What begins as a simple adventure quickly spirals into a nightmare that will haunt you long after the story ends. The story begins with endless stretches of white, icy mountains covered in snow. This is a ski resort, buzzing with people everywhere, each one enjoying the thrill of skiing. Right here, we meet our three main characters, Parker, Dan, and Lynch. Parker is Dan's girlfriend, while Lynch is Dan's childhood best friend. The three of them have come here to escape their daily routine and spend a fun-filled weekend. Without wasting any time, they buy tickets for the chairlift and hop on. But right at the start of their journey, nature gives them a warning. The lift suddenly halts in midair, leaving a streak of fear across their faces. Luckily, it starts moving again, and they dismiss it as just a minor technical glitch. Little do they know, this is the first sign of a storm waiting ahead. After hours of skiing and laughter, evening sets in. They descend from a mountain peak and enjoy dinner at a restaurant. Yet their excitement isn't over. They make a decision that will put their lives in danger, a plan to ski one last time in the dark of night. As they head toward the lift station, a guard stops them. He firmly says the lift is closed and warns them about worsening weather. But the three insist, pleading for just one final round, promising they'll return quickly. Against his better judgment, the guard gives in and lets them go. They have no idea that this small insistence will turn into the biggest and possibly last mistake of their lives. As they ride the chairlift upward into the darkness, trouble brews below. The guard's colleague arrives, saying the boss is calling him urgently. Before leaving, the guard mentions that 3 people are still up there and will be coming down soon. Coincidentally, at that very moment, 3 other skiers descend the slope. The new worker mistakenly assumes these are the same people the guard referred to. Believing no one is left above, he shuts off the main power switch and leaves. High above, Parker, Dan, and Lynch are jolted as the lift stops again. At first, they think it's another small malfunction like earlier in the day. They wait, but the cold keeps intensifying. Soon, they notice the resort's big lights turning off one by one. Panic begins to rise. Dan tries to calm himself, saying maybe it's just a power outage, something common in the mountains. He is convinced that no one would abandon them, and someone will surely come to bring them down. But the freezing air grows more deadly. Frustrated, Dan even says that if needed, he will jump down from the lift. At that moment, Parker remembers something that chills them to the core. With a trembling voice, she says tomorrow is Monday, and the resort only opens from Friday to Sunday. That means the resort will remain closed for the next 5 days. Hearing this, their anxiety turns into sheer terror. In desperation, Parker screams for help with all her strength, but in the empty wilderness, no one hears them. Defeated, they try to comfort each other with false hope, telling themselves it might just be a matter of time. Holding onto fragile hope in the darkness, they wait again. But nature strikes back mercilessly as heavy snowfall begins, leaving them shivering uncontrollably in the freezing night. In the middle of their despair, a sudden ray of hope appears when Lynch spots a snowcat truck moving below. The 3 of them scream desperately for help, their voices echoing in the cold night. But the driver is only searching for his colleague, and as soon as he hears on the walkie-talkie that his partner has been found, he turns back. In a final attempt to catch his attention, they throw down their belongings. Tragically, the driver is reversing while looking behind and never notices anything falling from above. As the truck disappears from sight, their last hope fades away. The cold is now unbearable, their hands and feet turning numb and stiff. To ease the tension, Parker tries to take out a cigarette, but one of her gloves slips from her hand and falls. At that moment, Dan notices Parker's cheeks, where frostbite marks have already begun to appear. It is a clear sign that if they remain here even one more day, they will freeze to death. Terrified by the thought, Dan loses his patience and makes a deadly decision. He decides to jump down. Lynch and Parker plead with him, warning that such a fall would be suicide. But Dan refuses to listen and leaps. The The snow beneath is as hard as stone. As he lands on his feet, the sound of bones cracking fills the silence, and his legs shatter in a horrific way. The unbearable pain makes him scream so loudly that the entire stillness trembles. From above, Parker and Lynch watch this terrifying scene, completely shaken, yet helpless. Parker, crying, throws down her scarf so Dan could try to stop the bleeding, but the wind carries it far away. Lynch then thinks of a dangerous plan. He wants to hang onto the lift cable and reach the pole where the ladder is attached. Parker warns him that the cable is sharp enough to slice his hands. Suddenly, the chilling sound of wolves howling breaks the night. Dan panics while Lynch tries to calm him. But then a wolf appears right in front of Dan. To scare it away, Parker quickly throws her ski boot down near him, and the noise makes the wolf retreat for a moment. Without wasting time, Lynch hangs onto the cable and tries to move toward the pole. But after going only a short distance, he sees something below that terrifies him, forcing him to climb back onto the chair. When Parker asks, he only says, "Don't look down." Yet fear drives Parker's eyes downward, and she sees the horrifying truth. An entire pack of wolves has surrounded Dan. They attack him mercilessly, tearing into him while he is still alive. Within moments, Dan's cries fade as he succumbs to the brutal assault. Witnessing this nightmare, Parker and Lynch are left frozen in shock, and eventually, exhaustion and trauma pull them into a restless sleep. The next morning, when Parker opens her eyes, a new nightmare awaits her. Her bare hand has frozen solid against the iron safety bar, and as she pulls it away in agony, the skin tears off, sticking to the metal. Parker is now completely broken. Just then, Lynch wakes up. He still holds on to hope, saying maybe when they don't show up at college, their friends will come looking for them. But Parker reminds him that no one even knows they are here. Hearing this, Lynch falls silent, realizing that waiting any longer only means death. Determined, he decides to climb the deadly cable once again, saying that if they stay here, they will die anyway, and Dan's sacrifice will be wasted. With Parker's help, Lynch stands on the chair and grips the icy cable with his hands. But danger is far from over. As soon as he hangs onto the cable, one of the main bolts of the lift loosens, and an entire chair tilts dangerously in midair. Parker screams in terror that the chair is about to fall, but Lynch cannot stop now. He tells her one last time to stay strong. The chair dangles precariously, while below, a pack of wolves waits like death itself. Lynch risks everything, trembling as he reaches the pole and begins climbing down the ladder. Suddenly, a wolf attacks him, but Lynch fights back with all his strength, striking it with a ski stick until the animal flees. He quickly sits on a snowboard and slides down the slope. Parker cries out from above as she sees the hungry wolves chasing after him, and within moments, Lynch disappears into the darkness of the forest. Parker waits for hours, clinging to hope. The sun sets, another black night passes, but no help arrives. By the next morning, in despair, she decides to jump. Just then, the chair's support completely breaks. By sheer luck, she catches onto a thin cable and hangs. Facing death, she uses the lower height to her advantage and leaps down. She lands safely, but immediately the heavy chair crashes onto her leg, making her scream in pain. Injured, she drags herself out from under the chair and crawls across the snow. A short distance ahead, she sees a horrifying sight: wolves tearing apart Lynch's lifeless body. One wolf locks eyes with her, its gaze filled with savagery. But since it is already full from feeding, it spares her and walks away. Barely escaping death, Parker cries as she drags herself forward until she finally reaches the main road. A passing car stops when she waves for help. The driver rescues her, promises to take her to the hospital, and asks if she is okay. But in Parker's frozen eyes, there is no relief, only the silence of Dan and Lynch's tragic deaths and a trauma that will never fade. And that brings this chilling story to an end. If you enjoyed the suspense, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. More thrilling and mysterious tales are on the way. See you in the next video.